How's it going, everybody? Chadley here, back with another Borderlands 3 build video, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the Volatile Tigress. It's definitely an update to that old Mayhem 3 melee Amara build that I had, and this thing just does phenomenally better. Just phenomenally better. You're going to be doing some absolutely insane damage. If you guys saw at the start, just the amount of damage you can do to some of these bosses if you do combos correctly. And all that, you guys are going to have no trouble getting through the takedown. I actually just uploaded that on my channel yesterday, so if you guys haven't seen that, make sure to go check that out. But let's just go ahead and jump right into this build. So we're going to start off here with our gear, and we're going to be using two face punchers. The face puncher is our main source of damage for this build. I like to use a redundant and a deep dive. If you guys can get weapon damage is increased on action skill end, perfect. You guys definitely don't need all these anointments. None of them are necessary. It's just going to make your life a lot easier, so you also have something to strive for. So the redundant ones, I usually use those for badass enemies or bosses. This way we can get the most amount of pellets out in the quickest amount of time. And that's going to pair with our main source of damage, and that is the white elephant. Now I like to use the elemental projector white elephant just because we're going to be under shock, or whatever element you guys choose with your action skill. We're going to have that effect all the time because we are going to be using a spiritual driver class mod. So you guys are going to get that bonus on those bombs. The bombs are random elements, but when you do happen to get the element that you were using, you're going to be doing 90% more damage with it. So that is really awesome. You guys are going to just destroy some things. And then the non-redundant face puncher, I use this for some of the smaller mobs. It makes it so I have to reload less, and that way I die less because our main source of healing is using sustainment. We're not using a knife drain. If you guys want to use a knife drain class mod, you can, but I like to have the damage with the elemental projector part. So that's why I use that. And then for bosses, sometimes I'll use the boss execute. If you throw like one or two of these onto the boss, you're going to be doing a lot more damage. I believe it's 50% more damage per execute you throw on them, and they last for like 12 seconds or so. So you can usually get like 3 off if you want like max damage. So do like 3 of those, switch over to the face puncher and just shoot at their crit spot, and you guys will go insane. Anything will just instantly melt. And then if you guys really want to be using just like straight up fist melee, you guys can use the butt plug. Unfortunately, melee does not scale anymore with the spiritual driver, but it does still work with the face puncher. I promise you guys, it does still work. The face puncher is considered a gun. That's why I have action skill and weapon damage. That does influence how much damage this gun is going to put out, even though it does shoot melee damage. And then in a perfect world, you guys are going to want a level 1 brawler ward with an action skill and melee damage is increased by 100% for a short time. I do not have that, but for most of the time I will be using the brawler ward. Now, if it wasn't broken, I would be using the shooting star. This thing, when you're in a map that this actually works on, it destroys enemies. Luckily, this does work in most of the takedown. I believe everywhere after the Kraken, it does work. I know it works on Valkyries. It works sometimes on the bridge. It's a little finicky. And then it does work on Wotan. So I will put on one of these, and this thing does so much damage to bosses. It's ridiculous. But if you're in a spot where the shooting star does not seem to be having its stars fall on the enemies, just go ahead and switch over to the brawler ward, and you guys will be perfectly fine. It's going to be no big deal. So then for grenade, I just have a grenade with bonus elemental damage. I'll change this to whatever main enemy type I'm facing. So normally I'll use corrosive like in the takedown. We'll get extra damage on those armored targets, and then we have infusion on. So we're going to be doing shock damage anyways, so we don't really need that. And flesh targets are no big deal, so that's why we just go with corrosive with that. Let's go ahead and look at our skills. So starting off with Fist of the Elements, we're going to be using Anima, 5 points into there. It's going to help our status effects, and then 5 points into Tempest, also going to help our status effects and elemental damage. Infusion, this is really nice with the face puncher just because it doesn't do any elements. And this way, with whatever element you guys are using, the face puncher can take advantage of that. So right now, most of the time I'll use shock, so it will easily strip through shields, and then our bonus corrosive or just the general explosions will tear through all other health bars. And then obviously we're going to be using Illuminated Fist, can give us more melee damage. And then Wildfire, we just have 2 points into there to help us move down the tree. Dread, that's going to help us when we do occasionally grasp somebody. Most of the time I do not, but in case we do, we'll have one there. Deep Well, just have a little bit more magazine size for our face punchers and such. Unfortunately, it does not help our execute, but it's a couple more shots really isn't that big of a deal. And then 2 points into sustainment. Unfortunately, this is all we can get into there without sacrificing on our Brawl Tree. So 8% is plenty, I promise you. As long as you're hitting your targets, you guys are going to be perfectly fine in healing. And then yeah, so we'll also be using Ties That Bind and Allure. Just helps out a bunch, keeping those action skill and anointments up. So moving on to our Brawl Tree. We're going to put 5 points into Root to Rise. This is because personal space does not actually influence anything that we're using, unfortunately. This is only for guns, and I know the face puncher is kind of interesting sometimes, but it does not work with the face puncher either, so that kind of sucks. And you guys will have plenty of health regen. The status effects that you inflict on yourself won't actually hurt you enough to make your health go down. You'll regen it quick enough anyways, so we don't need any points in there. So that's why we're just going to do 5 points into Root to Rise. And then we're going to put 5 points into Helping Hands, just more damage reduction so you guys can stay alive a little bit better. And then since we're using the White Elephant, it is affected by splash damage. So if you guys put 5 points into here, you'll be doing 20% extra damage with those White Elephant shots. Then also you guys will be taking less splash damage, which is helpful in the takedown as well. Then 3 points into Mindfulness. Since you guys will have the status effect on yourself, you don't have to worry about your shield coming back. So nothing to worry about there. You just get more movement speed and in turn more damage with the driver class mod. And then 1 point into Find Your Centers for more melee damage and range. And then we're going to put 1 point into One with Nature. This is just going to get us to the next tier. And then I have 5 points into Jab Cross right now. So the Jab Cross really helps with the face puncher because the face puncher will proc this and also get that 15% bonus gun damage from it. So that is really nice. If you guys want to put 1 point into Guardian Angel, you can. I kind of suggest this if you guys are planning on doing the takedown. I was doing bosses, so I just did 5 points into Jab Cross, but most of the time, I will have 1 point into Guardian Angel. You guys can take that upon yourselves to decide what you want to do with that 1 point. And then finally, we're going to put 1 point into Blitz. The Face Puncher does get that 100% melee bonus damage. And also, it does not actually proc this, so you guys are just always going to have a bonus to your Face Puncher from that. So that is really awesome. Hopefully my reasonings all made sense to you guys, but let's go ahead and see how that does. And we're just going to run through our gauntlet here on Athena's, my favorite place, so why not test it out here. We are on Mayhem 4. Right now our modifiers, extra skill damage and cooldown rate, doesn't matter to us. And then they have more weapon damage, so neutral modifiers, so you guys will truly see what this gets to do. So I just always pop my action skill. And then using the deep dive is way better on these smaller guys. As you guys can see, just one shot basically kills them. If you get enough white elephants to proc on them, doesn't really matter. I just mainly use the redundant for bigger enemies or bosses. And hopefully you guys can see that sustainment gives us plenty of health regen. Now, even though we have infusion on, we are not going to be healing off the initial shots from the face puncher. The only thing that's going to be healing us is the white elephant shots, so just keep that in mind. So it's not going to be completely instant with the heals. Just plan ahead, make sure you're always hitting people, and you guys will be perfectly fine. So we got a badass flamethrower heavy here. Let's see how fast we can kill him. You can crit with the white elephant explosion, so definitely aim for your crits. And the things will just instantly die, like that flamethrower heavy. Now, I actually don't run into too many ammo issues with this build, but if you guys do, just go ahead and slap on a cut purse. Any cut purse will do. Shoot an enemy one time, and you will have full ammo again. And then you can switch back to your elemental projector white elephant. All right, so now we're over here at Trant, and I'm going to show you guys what I normally like to do for him. You don't have to use the execute, but it definitely makes the kill so much quicker. So we're just going to go ahead and run in. We'll throw like 2 of these at him probably. There we go. We got 2 on him, and we'll do a loop. And since speed does affect the face puncher, we'll just stick that on his back, and he insta-dies. It's nuts. I love this build. I'm having a ton of fun with it. I've always loved melee builds, but finally made myself kind of build one again, and I'm really glad I did. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up on it to let me know. If you guys want to see more Borderlands builds or anything Borderlands related, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to go follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Chadley99. I've been streaming a bunch over there, and it's been a ton of fun. So make sure to go check that out if you haven't already. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.